Hello everyone, and welcome to the /jump source code example, or something like that. I will be teaching you how to install and run /jump, and how to make your own custom levels, and show you a bit of how you can mod the game as well. So first you need to go to this link right here, which I will have in the description and is also on the /jump speedrunning Discord server. To get the code, you have to press code and download zip and wait for that to download. And once you have it downloaded, it will be here in a zip file, and you just have to extract to some location wherever you want to keep it. And now you have to download the Godot 4.2.2 stable version, as that is what /jump was made in. And yeah, you just need to download here the Windows. I don't think there's any setup. I think you just get a little folder here that you can then just run the Godot stable Windows 64. And to import it, you press the import button and then navigate to where you put it, which should be, here it is, import and edit. So if you want to make your own custom levels, then what you have to do is, I have this folder right here, it's maybe a bit small to see, that I've colored orange, called custom levels, and inside it you have the custom level base, and you can right click it and duplicate, and then you can name it whatever. I'm going to name it just level 1 cool, and then press duplicate, and now you have it right here. And just for convenience, I'm going to drag it into the custom levels folder under the custom levels one, and now I can open it, and here it is. Here's the custom level. I'm gonna run it just to show how it works. It's just very, very simple. Just, you got your little guy there, Moscow, that's his name by the way, and the timer working and all that. It always opens everything. It's very annoying. I like to close it so it's a bit easier to see. So this is where all the objects are. And if you want to place down tiles, then you have to find the tile map. It's just the bottom one. And here we have the grass tile map. This is the main tile map, and it has most of the stuff, or it has all, like, most of the blocks, and then some unused ones as well. Oh yeah, also when it pops up, you have to select the terrain tab here. There's a few tabs. You have to select the terrain tab, and then you can press grass, and now you can just draw. There's one important thing with placing tiles, is that if you have the terrain tab selected and you go to grass and stuff like that, but then you click something else, it'll still be down here visually. But if you try to draw, you can see it doesn't work. And this is just a bug with the plugin that I'm using, and nothing that I can really do about it. So just, if you're trying to draw at some point and it doesn't work for some reason, you should double check that you have the tile map selected and it isn't just there as a ghost. So now, once I have it selected again, now you can draw with mouse 1 and then delete with mouse 2. And so I'm going to make a little hill over here maybe, and then a smiley face, because everybody needs a smiley face. And there are multiple different ground types, so we have stone, for example, and they combine. Don't worry about the grass thing, we'll fix that later. We also have one-way platforms, and they just function right out the gate. You don't need to do anything more to them. And yes, so this is how you place stuff, very simple. And then the other important thing is making screens. So you can see there's already one screen by default. It's light blue. You can change the color if you want, but I'm gonna keep it that way. So it's in the screen holder, which is under world necessities, right here, and here's the screen. And if you just do Control D, then you can duplicate it. So now you have a second screen. Oops. And if you have something selected and hold down Alt, then you can move it from anywhere. It's very convenient when you're dealing with screens specifically. So let's say I want you to be able to climb up the mountain, so then I'll just align them like this. Don't actually have to be aligned, I just like aligning them. And then go into the grass tile map, put some more grass down. You can also draw lines if you pick the line tool here. So you can make a line, or you can draw squares with this one. And you can also fill stuff in with a bucket tool, but that's not gonna help here, so I'm not gonna use it. And now, if we press play, it auto-saves whenever you press play, but I would recommend saving as much as you can. Now we have the little level here. Go up the screen, and boom, next screen. Go back down, whee, then you die. So for the screen, if you want to change it so you don't spawn inside the wall, then what you can do is you have to right-click on it and make local. It's so you can edit the respawn points. Every screen has respawn points that you can see here, and the respawn points node itself doesn't do anything, but wherever you place these respawn points is where the character will spawn. And you can have as many as you want on each screen. And so for example, when exiting this screen, it takes the location of where you exited and checks for the nearest respawn point. So if you're exiting from this top part, then the nearest point would be here. So then your respawn point would be here when you leave. And if I were to add another screen to the right, then I could put this respawn point over here. And yes, I'll even just show you. So before we spawned inside the wall, but now we respawn here where I put the point. And it also does the check for where the nearest respawn point is when you start, so when you press play. So if I press play here, I'm not sure which one is closer, so let's just try dying. It was this one to the right. And then if you want to change where the player himself will start, which is very useful for testing levels or just setting the starting position of it, you move the player spawn point, which is also under world necessities. Not the player spawner, but the player spawn point. That is very important. And you can just put it wherever. I'm going to put it here. And as long as it's inside of a screen, then it'll work completely fine. So now we start here instead. And then I die, and the respawn point works just fine. And if you want to make, for example, different size screens, then what you have to do is do the same thing as you did to adjust the respawn points, which would be then right-click and make local. This means that you can edit the stuff underneath it, but you only have to do it once. You don't have to make it local again if you've already done it on the screen. So you can see the collision shape 2D, that is the actual like box that you can see here. And so you could just take the corners and drag it, but you could see that it affects all the screens, so they all change size. Not ideal. So what you have to do is go over here to shape, which is rectangle, press the little arrow on the side, and press the make unique button. And now it won't. Now you can adjust it however you want. So you can make a huge screen. You can make it smaller than the screen resolution, but it'll just bug out, so I don't recommend doing that. So now I can make the screen huge. And then if I add some grass, so now you can see that the screen moves and you're trapped within the confines of the screen. You can only make rectangular shaped screens, unfortunately, so nothing crazy. So if you want to place down more than just regular blocks, then you have, for example, in this list right here, you have the one-way platform, which just works out the gate. It just you can just go through it, but you can't fall down. And then you have the goop. I don't know what it's actually called. I just call it unbounceable hazard, but like I like to call it the goop. And then you also have the stone spikes, which is these ones, the classics. And all these function just right out the gate, so you can bounce on these, but you died with them, and you can't bounce on these and whatever. But the sludge has a weird thing around it that just happens by default, and I can't remove it. I'm sorry, I've tried multiple times, it just doesn't work. So to remove it, you have to go to the tile map tab, get off the terrain tab here, but onto the tile map tab, and just then you can right click to delete around it, and then it does that. It's weird, it's annoying. I'm sorry, I can't do anything about it. And now let's say that you want to make a screen which has a pit in the middle. So like very high quality level design here. And you want it to be that when you die, when you fall into the pit, you die. But currently, if you fall off, you'll just fall, and you just won't stop falling. What you have to do is go to the tile maps, and you find pit death tile map. And here you don't use the terrain tab, you use the tile map tab. And you zoom in, and you have to click on either one of these, they both work, and just draw it in. And these, you will just die if you touch them, basically. That's what it is. And then to make them invisible, you can press the I here, and then they vanish. But they'll still kill you if you bump into it, as you can see here. Now it works just as it's supposed to. But okay, now let's talk about adding actual mechanics into the game. So if you go to the tile maps, you can find the mechanic tile map, which is it speaks for itself. It has all the mechanics. So you have the swing bubble, which is then this one, and you can have the crumbling platform, also have it left or vertical and right, and then even some super secret new or old debug stuff mechanics that work but like didn't make it into the final game, so you can experiment with these. I like them, I think they're really fun. Call them accelerators. And so if you want to make a little stupid level, you can do that here. Wow, truly beautiful. And I'll put this here just to show you that it works. Does exactly how it's supposed to work, just by default. But as you may have noticed, only some of the mechanics are in this tile set. For example, the spikes aren't in this one. So if you want to find the spikes, you have to go to the custom level objects, which is a folder in the custom levels. And here you can also find, for example, the bubble again, if you want to place it not using the tile map for some reason. And yeah, you can just drag them in. And so here it is, the moving spikes, so you can place them down. And you can check whether they start with the spikes out or not. So I'll show you what that looks like. Either have them, this one will be starting with the spikes out. You just have to toggle this little switch. And now this one starts and this one doesn't. And you can also rotate them. So if you want to change the rotation of them, you can do that by opening the transform tab here and then rotating it using rotation. You can either just turn the knob or you can just write 90 and or like -90 or something. I usually only have it at like divisions of 90 because it just looks weird, because rotated pixel art looks kind of dumb, but you guys can do whatever you want. I'm not your mom. Looks a bit janky, but yeah. You also have the turrets, they apply the same thing. You can have them here. You can flip them. You can't see it visually in the editor, but they are flipped now. You can change how often they shoot and the speed that the bullet travels if you want to do that. So you can put that here. And also some unused mechanics like the TNT barrel if you want to try using that. But an important thing about these mechanics is that when you place them down, they will by default just be here, which is like not good. It has to be inside the screen that you're working on. But for some reason Godot doesn't do this automatically, so you have to manually move it into the screen. So this is screen 2, you can tell just by clicking on it, and then you can see what's selected. So we have screen 2, and we just need to take all of these and place them into screen 2. If you don't do that, then the mechanics won't reset when you die. So like, for example, if you hit the spike and it goes out, and then you die, it won't go back in. So you need to put it under the screen, like make it a child of the screen that you're working with, otherwise it won't work. And just if you ever have any like questions or like don't know how something is done, you can either just ask me on the /jump speedrunning Discord, which I'll have in the link in the description if you're not a part of it already, or you can go to inside the custom levels folder. You can find the custom level showcase, which if you double click you can open it, and I made just a tiny little level which showcases all the mechanics and how they work, or like, and how you can set them up, so you can use this as reference if you need something. But if it's not enough, you can ask me directly. But now it's looking a bit bad. It's looking, you got grass inside the stone and whatever. It's looking really bad, so I'm gonna show you how you can make the screens or the level look nicer. So first of all, I'm gonna fix this grass. So I've made a thing called the Tile Map Master Decorator. This thing right here, if you press this button right here, the redecorate all tile maps, it doesn't matter if you like toggle it on or off because it just changes. So if you press it, you can see now that it places grass on top of every grass block and deletes all the ones inside of other things. So now it immediately looks a bit nicer. And you can just click it to get new patterns if you want. When you place down the blocks, you can see that there's nothing inside of them. They're kind of hollow. And so the Tile Map Master Decorator both puts grass on top and it fills the inside with a second tile map, so it's a bit smoother in between. And it also does that for the stone. But it doesn't do anything to the sludge. Then you have multiple manual decoration things. So you have the background tile map. So if you go to the terrain on the background tile map and you go to background dirt, not new background dirt. Again, I can't delete it, it's stuck there, but it's not that, it's background dirt. And you do this, you can just draw in the background. So now you can make it look like we're in a cave or something. So, boom. And if I move the player spawn point, put it here, there it is. And you have the decoration tile map. So in this one, you don't use the terrain tab, you use the tile map tab. So, and this one is a lot more manual. So for example, you can go to whatever you want here, and you can choose, for example, rocks. And you can just click on one of the rocks you like this one. And then you can just place it down. Oh, yeah, oops. Because if you place it just straight up, then it'll be weird with the layers. It'll be like in front and whatnot. So what you can do is you can go to the top right of this tab right here where it says default and change it to background. And now it'll be behind. And you can place rocks and whatever. You can place bushes. Oops. Place bushes on the grass. Place it on the stone if you want, doesn't really matter. Then you also have support beam and ore, which I use to decorate the things back here so they're not as monotonous. So you can put a little beam here, and now the place looks a bit nicer. It looks a bit weird, but you know, you get the point. And in this you have vines here in the scene collection. You can't visually see them beforehand, you can't preview them, but you can see you can place them down and they sway with the wind. So you can place that as well if you want. If you want to add any big decorations, which are here in the images, which would just go to decorations and foreground, like this big stump, which doesn't really fit the art style, but whatever. You can then put this, if you change the ordering of it, because you can see it's in front of everything now, if you click on it and you press ordering, you can change the Z index, make it like -10 or something. And now you can put it behind here. And now you have a big stump. And you can put anything you have here if you want to put that, like the reeds from the water. And also, if you want to do the sludge, because the sludge is kind of annoying, it's very janky. So if you want to, for example, place it like here, so it's like connected to the dirt. I'm going to remove this. You can see that it doesn't actually connect to the dirt. It just kind of stops. So to make it actually connect, you have to go onto the sludge edge tile map. And this part's a bit tricky because you just have to manually do it. You just have to find the tile that corresponds to where it is. So this tile right here, as you can see, it only has the sludge on the left, so I put it here. And then I want to do this corner, so I press this tile that only has this corner, put that in. Then I want to do the top stuff, and I press here, it only has it here. And now you can see it's more connected to the dirt. And if you're feeling extra cheeky, you can add little corners to it to make it even smoother. I usually do that in the levels in the game. And now you have all the tools to make a level, but there are some things that you still would want to do maybe. Like for example, if you click on a screen, you can press here, it's a split timer. If you have that enabled, then when you exit this screen, then the timer will split. So if you want to split when it goes over to this screen from this one, then you have to go onto the screen. If you click on the screen in the editor, then it'll choose the collision shape most of the time. So you just have to go up one in the hierarchy, go to screen. Now if I exit the screen, jump off it, then it splits. But if you jump off it again, it won't split. And we also have gravity minus, which you guys may have noticed is in the game, but in some situations, like on this transition to this screen right here, if you jump too much, you could just fly off and just immediately fall into the next section. And I really didn't like that. And so I implemented a thing to give you extra speed downwards so that you fall faster. So there's no way that you can accidentally slip off the ledge and just start platforming immediately into the next one. So I'll show you here. If I make this just 200, as soon as you exit it, then it'll reduce your speed. So you can see I'm exiting, and instead of following the arc he's supposed to, he just kind of sinks like a rock. But only when he exits this screen. So this is useful if you don't want people to fall off as soon as the next challenge begins. If you want to end the level, because in the original game you just hit a cutscene, but that would be kind of annoying, so I have this level end object right here. And if I place it down, you can see, might be a bit familiar to some of you guys. Place it down, and now, oh yeah, and also you gotta make sure that it's a child of the screen that it's on, because it's just annoying like that. So now if you hit the level end object, then the timer stops, there's a little cutscene, and you win. It's a very scuffed little UI, but it works. And if you want to make a collection of levels, like multiple levels, you can, on the object, the level and the object itself, there's a thing called next level right here. And if you go to, for example, if I wanted to go to the custom level showcase after this, you have to right click on the level that you want to go to and copy the path to it and then paste it into this little thing here. Now when you win the level, you'll play the cutscene, and now you can choose retry level back to menu or next level, and if you press next level, it'll take you to the next level. So you can make little gauntlets if you want, but you can't, on the main menu there's nothing to choose. Like, you can't choose stuff on the main menu, or you can't choose to go to another level other than just the first level on the main menu. So sorry about that. You guys can do that yourselves if you want. I'm too lazy to actually make it so that the main menu takes you to the place, to the level that you just made, because right now if you just press play, then oops, I've already set it to this level by default, but it won't take you to the level that you made. So you have to go to the main menu, under the root node, find the main menu right here, and in that you can see a thing called the level path. And here you do the same thing as with the level end object, where you take the level that you wanted to go to, you right click, copy path, and then you delete what's already in there and paste in the new thing, the new level path. And now press start. It takes you to the level that we just made. There's a lot of customization you can do, because this is literally just the source code, and I might make a separate video to explain in more depth how you can customize stuff, but if you really want to do that, you can also just ask me on the /jump Discord server if you just add me on there. But the one thing that I will teach you how to customize, because it's just so simple, is the music. You can go to the music starter, which is under World Necessities, and press, and you go to the music starter, and then over here you can see starting song. And just like with everything else, you just have to search. I have a folder for songs, but you can just add your own. If I just go into sounds and music, for example, if I want to play the ending theme, I can just remove this and then copy path and paste this in here. And now, instead of the original song, now we have this song playing always, and it'll loop and whatever, and it is affected by the audio volume. And there's a whole lot of other customization that you can do as well, because this is literally the source code, so you can just do whatever you want. So you can add new mechanics, add new swing bubble or whatever, or you can give the player a new skin or something. And if you ever want to know how to do that, you can just ask me on the /speedrunning Discord server, and I will help you with that. So for example, if you want to make custom tiles, custom mechanics, or custom background, or custom night, or whatever, then you can do that. Or if you want to change the movement, if you want to do that for some reason, just hit me up on the speedrunning Discord server. Let's say we're happy with this. And this is my perfect little level that I've made. Super proud of it. Can't wait to show you all how it works. So if you want to export it so other people can play, what you have to do is you go up here to the top tab and press project, and then before you can export it, because there's the export button here, you have to set the main scene, which is basically when you press the play button, what will be the first scene that opens. So like 99% of the time you're just going to want it to be the main menu. So you can go to, if you want to find the main menu, you go to scenes, then you go to UI, and then game start, main menu.tscn. Press open. And now this is the main menu that's been set. And now if we go to export, now you won't have these right here. So what you have to do is to press the add button and then to whichever platform you're exporting to, which I will just be, it's just to Windows desktop because that's what I find, that's what I do. And you have to choose the export path, which is basically just where you want the exe to go to. I'm just going to put it onto the desktop. Just create a new folder, name it /jump custom level. You go into the folder and then you can give the file a name. Press save. All these settings are fine by default. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they should be fine. But you can see down here, no export template found at the expected path. This will probably show up for you as well, so what you have to do is just press manage export templates and then just download and install. And then you just have to wait a bit. It'll install. I'm too lazy to download it because it'll take like 3 years, but you need to do that. And you want to press the export project button right here once you're done. But I'm going to press this just so you can follow along as well, but I don't recommend using it. So now you're in the folder you already made, and you can just name it. Brinman. Very nice. I would recommend turning off the export with debug, just because it's not very useful to anyone who's actually just wants to play the game. Then you just press save. And now if you go to the folder where it should be right here. Oh, this is just the entire thing. Oops. My bad. But for you, you'll just get an exe and then something called like console or something like that. And if you want to run the game, you just double click the exe and then you will just get /jump, but with your level. And yes, that is the whole tutorial on how to make your own custom /jump levels. And you can share them, whatever, I don't really care. Just like, I wouldn't be very happy if you just stole the source code and like claimed it as your own. That would be kind of cringe, so I don't recommend doing that. But like, you can make your own custom levels, you can share them wherever, I don't really care. Because the game's free anyway, not like I'm making any money. So, yes. And again, if you ever need any help with this, or want to customize something, or like, I don't know, make an improved timer or whatever, I don't know what you want to do, then just join the /jump Discord server, send me a message there, add me preferably on the server, just because then I'll actually see it, and I will help you with whatever problems you have. Yes, have fun making /jump levels.